My name is Arun, and I'm solutions architect with Rexpress Technologies, which is one of the best organization to work with. And this is my channel and my views, and we are working on 305. And today we are going to cover Azure Synapse Analytics. This is a chapter in the syllabus where we need to talk about design, data integration, and analytics solution with ASA or Azure Synapse Analytics. We have already covered a lot in Azure Synapse. I would not say absolute deep dive like Cosmos. Yes, we have covered Cosmos very deep. We do have a playlist, but ASA we have also covered. But here, for the sake of 305, we need to go and talk some important points from the architecture perspective, like what it is, when to use it, use cases, differences, those kind of stuff. And yes, of course, architecture, if we couldn't cover in this one, we will cover in the next video for sure. So Azure Synapse Analytics. Let's try to understand ASA first. I'm calling ASA to Azure Synapse Analytics. So don't get confused, please. So to make it simple, we can think like we can ingest data from external sources and then transform and aggregate this data into format suitable for analytics processing. That's what the Azure Synapse Analytics is. To comprehend it better, let's check the architecture, which will give you the more insight. Like we said, ingesting data from external sources and transforming for the analytic processing. These are the key words to understand Azure Synapse Analytics. But to comprehend it better, let's try check the architecture. Yes. This is the architecture where you can see a high level architecture, of course, because we are not going in the DP203, but AZ-305. So, all right, this is a high level architecture where we have control node and compute nodes, as you can see. If you are wondering why so many compute node, then if you remember from previous videos, it's because MPP, massive parallel processing, which means the data is processed, is distributed evenly across the compute nodes by control node, which is the brain of this architecture. We submit queries in the form of T-SQL statement, and Azure Synapse Analytics runs them, as you can see here in the diagram. And this will provide the computation power. Now, Azure Synapse Analytics uses technology like Polybase that enables us to retrieve and query data from relational and non-relational sources. You can save the data read in as SQL tables within Synapse Analytics services as well, with the help of Polybase. So what we define in the previous video, that's what you can simply see. We are ingesting data or running queries, and control node is distributing it to the compute nodes, and we are getting the results quicker, right? So let's go to the, we understood Azure Synapse Analytics, and let's go to the components. Yeah, that's our slide, components. This will help us understand ASA further. Now, till now we till now, we have understood what is ASA and tried to understand the architecture. And now we are going to understand the components, because the previous architecture was not the DD, the language of architecture, but it was a high level, right? So let's try to understand these components, which will give you another insight. So let's check these components one by one. Let's start with the Synapse SQL. Synapse SQL, okay, right here. So it was earlier, we used to call it data warehouse. Yes, Azure SQL data warehouse is Synapse SQL now. But you can still go ahead and create that and this both. That's fine. So Synapse SQL offers both serverless and dedicated resource model to work with using node-based architecture. For predictable performance and cost, we can create dedicated SQL pools. For unplanned or ad hoc workloads, we can opt for serverless, right? So you got two kinds of Synapse SQL here. And as per our use case, as per our need, we can opt any one of those or both, right? So that's there. Now, another one is Synapse Spark. Synapse Spark pool. We can call it pool because it's a cluster. Eh? This is a cluster of servers running Apache Spark to process data. We write data processing logic using one of the 4 supported language. Yes, 4 supported languages: Python, Scala, SQL, and C#. We have also covered Databricks in the previous video. You would have some reference here. So Apache Spark for Azure Synapse integrates Apache Spark, the open source big data engine used for data preparation, engineering, ETL, and machine learning. What have I just said, you can refer it to the previous video as well. Now, the third is Synapse pipelines. And if you're following this playlist, you can easily guess the pipelines. Synapse pipelines, of course. Well, Azure Synapse Pipelines leverages the capabilities of Azure Data Factory. There we go, ADF, Azure Data Factory, and is the cloud-based ETL, extract, transform, load, and data integration service that allows you to create data-driven workflows for orchestrating data movement and transforming data at scale. You could include activities that transform the data as it is transferred, or you might combine data from multiple sources together. We have covered ADF in detail in the previous videos as well. You can look on the channel, you'll find it. Then we have Synapse Link right here. So this component allow us to connect to Cosmos DB. You can use it to perform near real-time analytics over the operational data stored in the Cosmos DB or Cosmos database, DB database. So it's a link for Cosmos, for real-time, yeah. Then we have Studio, Synapse Studio. As you can understand with the name, this is a web-based IDE, and Azure love to create such kind of tools. We have for Data Explorer, we have for Azure, we have for SQL DB, just like that. It is a web-based IDE that can be used centrally to work with all capabilities of ASA. You can use Synapse Studio to create SQL and Spark pools, define and run pipelines, through the web-based IDE. You need not to learn coding for this purpose. A web-based IDE can help you to do that all, and configure links to the external data sources, right? But now we understood what is ASA. We understood the architecture on a high level. We tried to understand the components of ASA. But the question comes, when to use ASA? Because we don't know yet. Let's check it out. All right, there we go. When to use ASA? When you have a variety of data sources, we can use ASA for code-free. Yes, code-free ETL. You need not to write any code, but you could use the web and utilize those components that we're talking about. For example, data flow activities. From the ASA, you can utilize the functionality of ADF. You can put source and destination and move the data, just like extract, transfer, and load. And this entire pipeline of ADF, you can move the data from, we have seen this architecture in the previous videos. For example, from the source, it's coming to the data lake, and then it's moving to transformation, then again data lake or SQL data warehouse. That's kind of pipeline. So data flow activities you can do or perform through ASA. Now, when you need to implement machine learning, ML, machine learning solutions using Apache Spark, we can use ASA for that purpose, because Azure ASA or Azure Synapse Analytics has a built-in support for Azure ML. Why I'm saying Azure Synapse Analytics? Well, it has Apache Spark use. You can use Apache Spark from the ASA portal. Now, when you have existing data stored on a data lake and need integration with the data lake and additional input sources, Azure Synapse Analytics provides seamless integration between the two. So whenever you're looking for such integration, think for ASA. Give it a shot. Yeah. And of course, when management needs real-time analytics, you can use features like Azure Synapse Link to analyze in real time and offer insights to your management. So these are 4 use cases that I picked. It could be more as per the need, but for this particular video, these will give you a proper understanding. So let's check what kind of analytics can we do through ASA. So there are various kind, and these are the 4 that we can do: descriptive, diagnostics, predictive, and prescriptive. As per name, you can easily understand if we say descriptive, it simply means what is happening. So the results of this analytics will help you understand what is going on. Yeah. Descriptive analytics describes the use of a range of historic data to draw comparison. Most commonly reported financial metrics are a product of descriptive analytics. For example, year-over-year pricing changes, month-over-month sales growth, things like that. I hope it's very clear to understand. It's nothing complex, very simple. Same goes with the diagnostic. Now, descriptive, what is happening? Diagnostic, why it is happening, or like why this happened. Like diagnostics that we run on our computers, right? Even in Azure, we do have diagnostic, right? So that diagnostic analytics, it's a form of advanced analytics that examines data or content to answer the question, why did it happen? when you perform RCAs, you go through this kind of diagnostics. Just saying. Then predictive, what is likely to happen. We're predicting here with lots of data in our bag, and with the help of algorithm, we can figure out what would be the next move. What is likely to happen? Prediction. Now, this kind of analytics makes predictions about future outcomes using historical data. Very simple examples like identify customers that are likely to abandon the service or product, right? Send marketing campaigns to customers who are most likely to buy. Or if you think polls, this can help, like who is giving votes to who's gonna win. Anyways, let's hit the prescriptive. Now, once you have the predictive, just these both seems like, a little bit, because it can help you what needs to be done. With the help of prediction, you know what's going to happen. And with the help of that prediction, you know what needs to be done. That's what I meant. So prescriptive analytic is the process of using data to determine an optimal course of action. Yes, it's not totally dependent on predictive, of course. So by considering all relevant factors, this type of analysis yields recommendations for the next steps. These types of analytics use predictive analytics real time or near real time. Azure Synapse Analytics provide the capability through both Apache Spark, Synapse Link, and integrating streaming technologies such as ASA. But at this time, I'm calling ASA to Azure Stream Analytics. So don't call ASA either Synapse or a Stream. I'm sorry, I will stop calling it ASA as well. For example, on social media, TikTok's For You feed is one of the example of prescriptive analytics in action. It's prescribing you, right? So it can help us in both ways, as I was saying. When you can be prescriptive. For example, on YouTube, we have recommended videos. For Amazon, we have recommended products. So it can help from that perspective. I think we should not say that I was saying predictive can help us to be prescriptive. Well, even it can. So forget it. All right. So these are the four analytics: descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive. And we can call it like what is happening, why it is happening, what is likely to happen, and what needs to be done. Okay, we give recommendations. All right, now it's time to choose ADF over ASA. Yeah, it was there in the syllabus, so I picked it here. It's nothing big, it's very simple. ADF and ASA, right? Azure Data Factory and Synapse Analytics. So if we say data sharing, Synapse is not specifically for data sharing, because even in the name it's analytics. But in ADF can be shared across different data locations, source and destination, and data can flow. Solution templates. Yes, with ADF, yes. And with Synapse Workspace, yes. Workspace has those kind of things that can help you, templates. Now, integration runtime across region support. Yes, support across region data flows, does not support that. If you talk about monitoring, integrated with Azure Monitor, and yes, ASA has diagnostic logs. See, diagnostics, why it is happening. Monitoring of Spark jobs for data flow. Not supported in ADF because it has Spark. ADF doesn't have Spark. So yes, supported by Synapse Spark tools. So yeah, there was pretty much that we have to cover in this video. And I hope you would have learned something new today. And that's not it. We can go and dig it deeper. These are itself a great tools and enormous technology, but for our purpose of video, this is good. So